Hello, my XRP army, my tribe, and everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome back for Saturday's edition of the Tariff Sheriff. Why does tariff and sheriff rhyme? Because they have the same letters in them. Anyway, what's going on in the markets? Well, the stock market is closed. The NASDAQ was down 962 points at the closing bell on Friday. The Dow Jones was down 2,231 points, and the NYSE Composite was down 1,149. The stock market is not liking the tariff news. What has crypto done? Well, Bitcoin over the last week, it was up to 88,500. It went down to 81,000.9. And now it's running at 82,600. Seems to have almost recovered a little bit. The crypto market did a spike when the news came out, and then it dropped dramatically. And now it's starting to recover. XRP, it spiked at $2.23. It went down to $1.96. Yay for those of you who bought it. I got it at $2.03. And now it's running to the right at $2.12 an ounce. $2.12 per token. Whatever you want to call it. It's just ones and zeros inside a computer. That's all it is. We can call it anything we want. We can call it a token. We can call it a share. We can call it an ounce. I don't care. I have one unit. Each unit of XRP was at $2.12. So what is going on with these tariffs? What does a tariff actually mean? My wife didn't really grasp the situation, so we just sat down and we talked about it for a little while. And then she said, thank you, I finally understand what's going on. So the stock market, no likey like the news of tariffs. The crypto market seems to be on the road to recovery already. Maybe the stock market will do the same on Monday. As I said yesterday, let's find out. I think the stock market may begin a recovery, a little bit of a recovery, after it's had some time to digest it and recuperate. Maybe not. I may be wrong on that. We may see more red. But why does a crypto market much faster to begin to recuperate? And I believe it has to do with the mentality of the people involved between the two entities. The stock market is old, the crypto market is new. Much more mobility in the stock market. Much more mobility in the crypto market. Yes, you can trade either really quickly, but the mentality, youth and vitality, I guess you could call it, is in the crypto market. Whereas old curmudgeon-y kind of people inhabit the higher echelons of the stock market. That's the way I'm putting it. As far as the tariff goes, they are doing what I believe Trump's plan is, and that is to make nations capitulate on putting tariffs on U.S. products. It's having that effect. Israel has already put it in writing. My understanding is that Canada has at least said they will cancel their tariffs, and then said a whole lot of mean things about the United States. Ask me if I care. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Canada's not going to invade the United States over tariffs. They may become the 51st state of the United States, and I think there's a lot of value to that, especially to the Canadians. But both parties could mutually benefit from that, I believe. My personal belief. You may feel differently, and that's okay. Here's a little story about tariffs. In the 1980s, the United States assisted South Korea in industrializing and brought them out of the Stone Age, you might say. We allowed South Korea to import their automobiles to the United States with zero tariffs. There was an agreement signed that they would no longer put tariffs on American food. Signed the agreement. Then they said, South Korea said, Well, we can't prove that that grain came from the United States, so the tariffs are in place. They pulled a fast one on us. So Trump is fixing that. And they've already begun to capitulate. They've already begun to make adjustments. How? Hyundai has announced building a plant here in the United States. What it's going to cost, I think they said $21 billion to build a plant here so they can avoid the tariffs. Yay, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Put Americans back to work. That's what Trump is trying to do. And how do you pull people out of poverty? By giving them jobs. Don't give a man a fish. Teach him how to fish and he can fish for the rest of his life. Another thing, really important to understand this. Okay, China has said they're going to put a 34% tariff on American products. Okay, what are Chinese products? This is a Chinese product. Handheld radio. Where's it made? Can you see that? It says made in China. Okay, do I need another one of these? Do I really need another one of these for $35? This is what China exports. This is what the United States exports. Not this specifically. This said it was made by or packaged or brought to you by someplace in the United States, but I don't know if these lentils were actually made in the United States. But the United States is the largest exporter of food in the entire world. Which one of these do you need every single day? The overwhelming majority of the people on earth are going to say this. Without this, your people starve. Without this, your people don't have a sense of keeping up with the Joneses. America's tariffs to the Chinese will mean that a United States citizen will have to go out and buy a 70-inch big screen TV instead of the 76-inch big screen TV that he wanted, because the 76 is now out of his reach. Boo freaking who. Without this, the Chinese people go hungry. What do hungry people do? They don't comply. When putting this on the table of the average family's, when putting this on the average family's table, thank you, absorbs 40% of that family's income, they go to the streets. And that is exactly what happened in the Arab Spring, wasn't it? 5 Arab nations rose up against their governments because the cost of food had risen to 40% of their income. That is the level at which people will riot. They will go to the streets and they will revolt. They will overthrow their governments. Oh, wait. Now we're cooking with gas. So, where's China going to go with this trade war with the United States? They're going to go hungry. If you are not aware of world events and what is happening with food around the world and due to the weather changes around the world, I am not talking climate change. I am talking about the Earth's interaction with the sun and how that is affecting our growing cycles. Look into the Heilongjiang region of China. That is where they grow their grain. For the last 3 years, it has been flooded out completely, and they have had almost no grain grown in that region. For the last 2 to 3 years, China has gone on a rampage around the world buying food. Why? It's got a lot of people to feed. And if a lot of people go hungry, a lot of people are going to take to the streets. Let that sink in. The average American will have to buy a 70-inch big screen TV versus a 76-inch big screen TV. The average Chinese citizen will go hungry. Look it up. For the last several years, the Chinese government has been running ad programs telling the Chinese people to eat 2 meals a day instead of 3, and to eat smaller portions. Why? It ain't because they're the most obese nation on earth. It's because they don't have enough food. So China slapping tariffs on American exports, which is food. We primarily export food to the Chinese nation. They suffer greatly. The Chinese government is going to do nothing but make the Chinese people suffer. And I feel sorry for them because their government sucks. Just going to say that. So I don't see a trade war with China going very well for the Chinese people. A tariff war, really. It's really a tariff war. These tariffs are going to hurt the Chinese people greatly, in that they can already not feed their families because there's too little food, and now that too little food is going to cost them even more, or the government will have to subsidize it, which just means the people are paying it on the back side instead of on the front side. Either way, it costs them more. So there's nowhere to go with that other than to capitulate and to enter into fair trade agreements. That's where I see that going. This has gotten long. I could go on and on and on about that, about all kinds of things. Yes, there's going to be pain, short-term pain. There's going to be long-term gain. My child is going to live better because of what the current administration is doing, and I applaud that. Think about this, people. Think about this, and when you talk about tariffs on goods that are manufactured in Mexico and in Canada. North American Free Trade Agreement was signed back decades ago. And what has happened since then? 90,000 factories, not 90,000 factory workers, 90,000 manufacturing facilities have left the United States and gone to Canada, Mexico, and other countries. 90,000. How many people were employed by that? And what are those people doing now? Are they selling drugs on the street? Are they just living on the street? Are they working menial jobs that cannot provide for a family? We're talking about the future of our nation here. And we're choosing a direction. And I think we've been going down the wrong road for a long time. 90,000 factories left since NAFTA's initiation. And now we're starting to fix that. And I think it's been a long time coming. And I see good things on the horizon. You need to be prepared for a little bit of difficult times, but also pounce on XRP, because I believe it's the future. Well, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I am pouncing on XRP. I believe it's the way of the future for banking, and we are in the midst of great upheaval around the world, figuratively and literally. Look at Campi Flegrei in Italy. That thing's getting ready to blow. It blows. The Earth's weather patterns are going to change for the next 30 years. A lot of things happening in this world. When they talk about the Great Reset, they're not just talking about changing the color of the ink on the US dollar. A lot of changes are coming to the world. Be prepared for it. Be prepared to take a ride on the rocket ship when that change happens. Do your own research. Get educated about what's going on in the world, how things work. Wow, this is getting really long. Do you like longer formats or shorter? I tend to like shorter formats, maybe because I don't like talking on camera. Too self-conscious. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. A lot of food for thought. Put something down in the comments if you got something out of what I said. Let me know if you want to dig further into something like tariffs or can't be flagree or the Earth's magnetic relationship to the sun, yada, 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 yada. A lot of things happening. Let me know if you bought XRP during this dip. I did. I know other people that did, and I've encouraged 4 or 5 others to look into it, and they're actually going to do it. So yay, I hope it will change their life. And XRP $100,000 today, please. God bless y'all. Take care. I'm out.